broadcasting around the world via satellite from deep within the Trinity Alps of Northern California. We are live from the Hermitage. Good evening, everybody. Alrighty. Hey, welcome to another exciting and fun-filled podcast with your favorite Dharma Bum. We are, in fact, live at Hermitage. The co-hosts are back there, nestled into bed where everybody with any common sense at all, at least in this time zone and everywhere east of here. I don't know, maybe we'll get audience in Southeast Asia, but there's not even morning there. See, it's really like, maybe if we can find some Buddhists in Hawaii to tune in. Say hi in the chat anyway if you tuned in. I got a few things lined up that are kind of interesting this evening. It is, in fact, a fireside chat. Okay? It's way too cold outdoors right now. We're actually having a really wonderful Indian summer. Continues the kind of days that we did do the first two fireside chats, the outdoor fires. But tonight was just a little too on the cold side, so we have this fire over here. See, so it's still officially a fireside chat. Now, got a little story about this little thing here, so kind of cool, right? We've had it a while. We hauled that around in the Terrapin Flyer, our now famous homeless wagon, which is disassembled and now just hauls firewood. But for a while we carried this around, and I can't remember what it was. Whether it was a stream I was doing or a video or something. And Lama Choga, God bless his soul, tuned in, and he knew we were in this two-man tent. It was wintertime, and very cold. A lot, probably right around now, right around this time of year, and he saw the little fireplace, and mind you, again, we're in a two-man tent, okay, and he sees this, and he's like, how do you get the smoke out of the tent? and the question escaped me actually at first. Right? Like, at first I didn't quite... And then it dawned on me like a little flashbulb over my head, and I was like, he thinks it's a real fireplace. And now, like a tiny little 6-inch, fireplace. And so laughing hysterically, I just remember typing out, I think, or an explanation that, or telling him. I can't remember what the context was, but somehow he saw it, and I explained to him that no, it's not actually a real. It's battery operated, and it's real, but it really gives a nice. I kind of turn it on almost every winter night. It's been around for a couple of years now, at least, in our lives. And I actually take the time to charge the batteries up and put it up every night. And for me and the boys, it makes a nice night light in case I got to get up. I'm not like stumbling around. And it's just a really gentle, fun thing to look at. And it really, I'm looking at the camera shot now on the laptop and seeing what you guys are seeing. And it really looks quite, I guess it really does look like a little desktop. Anyway, so we're having a fireside chat, folks, here at the Hermitage. So, anyway, let me see if I got any, beside just my regulars. But anyway, I got interesting stuff, whatever, to talk about for at least an hour. But I guess just to, because a lot of folks are watching this now. I've already had like friends in we have a lot of people in Europe, a lot of people on the Eastern Seaboard that are part of the overall group, like the larger group, the Sangha, as you call it, um, that orbit, that we orbit in. Um, and they just don't. I think we do have Southeast Asian people in this Sangha as well. But like I said, I think it's still it's too early for them, right? It's like it's tomorrow for them, right? It's past the dateline, and so they're not happening unless we have like some Buddhists in Hawaii. That'd be about the optimal time zone for this show. But again, it's about being able to have a fire. Even though we have a faux fire, just for the record, for those who tune in, it's really, the time was picked because it's Saturday, and that's a good day for me to stream in general. And also because 9 p.m. is a time when year-round it will be dark. I mean, now it's really dark. It's hard dark for hours now. But in the summertime, it would just really actually barely be dark by 9 p.m. So, and to be able to do a fire, an actual outdoor fire, would be an optimal kind of thing that I had in mind for this particular stream, right? It's just the kind of thing I wanted to be able to do. And it just seems like if I want to pick a consistent day and time for everybody to get used to, then, and I want to do fires, I don't know, it just seems like that's about the earliest, really, I mean, that I could possibly do it and have it work, like, without having to, I don't know, like, change up or whatever, seasonally. So, yeah, and so for anybody I gotta remember that you guys are over here. Like, the whole world, there's the Karmapa flag, and I just want to point out, in case Lama Choga does tune in on the rebroadcast, it's hanging the correct way today, this week. No, I don't know how or why, but like yesterday I noticed the one outdoors is correct, because of course I checked before I put it on a 10-foot pole that I would have to take down and fix if it was wrong. So I checked, right? And so it was correct. And I double checked to make sure it was correct. And then realized that the one in the house was upside down. It's kind of hard to figure out, right? It's not like the American flag where it's obvious, right, if the thing is upside down, right? I mean, because you've got like all this sort of symmetry. This thing like boggles the mind just to even look at it, right? That's just for the record, for those who don't know or tune in, don't know what flag that is that we're talking about. That is the high patriarchs of Vajrayana Buddhism, generally speaking, will have a personal insignia of some sort, and most of the time, especially the very ancient historic lineages, the high patriarchs will have their own flags. And so this is the personal ensign, or the personal flag of His Holiness the Karmapa, who I guess, under the current circumstances certainly anyway, would be more or less the second highest. Now, actually, I should have downloaded that picture and had it at the ready, but there is a personal insignia, a personal flag for His Holiness the Dalai Lama. A lot of people don't know about it. I won't fly a national flag on the property, so I'm not going to fly the Tibetan flag on this land. No national flag will fly on this land, and the Tibetan flag, however connected it might be to His Holiness the Dalai Lama, is nevertheless a national ensign. It's not going to fly on this land. However, I did some research, and there is an ancient spiritual person to signify the spiritual office of His Holiness the Dalai Lama that is not secular but attached to his ecclesial position within Buddhism, and it's purple. Actually, it's gorgeous, and it's got a wonderful, colorful design, very ancient, like sort of mandala type design in the center of it, and it's an actually fantastic ensign. It took a lot of research to find it, and there's only a few instances of like professional description of the flag written down. Even there's no like extant photos of this flag. Last time it was seen was like I think in the early 1900s, and but yeah, with some research I discovered there is a personal ensign, and we will get one made eventually. They're easy to make. That one was made. I actually created that by just downloading the Karmapa image and sending it away to a flag making company, and they just sent it back to me. No problem. So anyway, it's flying upside right. Any lamas or monks who tune in, and sorry for the last couple weeks where it was not exactly flying upright. Update on the base camp. Really complete, guys. Still haven't painted the picnic table, but waiting. It's a project that, for a lot of different reasons, including just the super duper practical reason that I only have one paintbrush and it's acrylic paint. If you think that through, it means that it's something that has to be done all in one entire day. Because if you think you're going to set that paintbrush down, and I didn't, buy all the paint thinners and the trays and everything. I bought a brush. And I got a free stir stick. And that's it. So when I open that can of paint and use that brush, the whole table got to get done in one shot. I'll do the best I can with a brush, but I predict it's probably going in the garbage afterwards, by the by, and but the table will get done. And so just waiting for just the right time, and then I want it to be able to cure for at least the last part of the day and the next day after. And it looks like there's some nice days coming up, so I think this week the table will get finally painted a beautiful shade of maroon, and we're going to keep that shade of paint. Now we've been to the hardware store, and we can make that shade the shade of the Hermitage, right? Literally. So like the fencing and the other picnic tables and everything will be that same wonderful maroon now that we'll be able to use on, and it's all this great outdoor acrylic base that will help preserve the wooden stuff that we're getting and putting out. So that's kind of the base camp update. It's all done. We have a winter appeal, everybody, down in the description. That's for food and fuel and water for the winter season to get us through till next year. Anything extra will go towards the holidays. Thanksgiving this is the last show, actually, last from the Hermitage, unless I decide to stream on Thanksgiving, which is entirely possible that I would do a special stream for Thanksgiving. But other than that, I think, though, if I'm not mistaken, this is the last stream that we'll do before Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Out there, wherever you are, if you celebrate. So much to be grateful for this year. So happy to be, not only up here on the mountain, but we faced a few storms, guys. We really have. One of them, at least, was fairly scary. And exhilarating in a way, though, too, in a weird sort of way, because it was such a test of I tried to be very, very scientific and very thoughtful about the survival camp that I built up here, because I think just to sum up on the base camp news, to say that one of the reasons it's so important, guys, is I want it to last for at least a year. I want to be able to stay right here where we're at in this situation and have this work for a year so that I can concentrate on other parts of the property. And that will become, as time unfolds, as we go through the holidays and everything, and we're going to make some announcements, and it will become more apparent why that is. But we're actually going to have more property, I think, than we have now. Let's just put it that way. And it seems fairly certain that we will. And there's a lot to do besides keeping me and the boys alive. And I wanted to just nail this and get this down so that we can focus on other parts of the property. The goal being by the end of 2026 to have the place safe enough, which is important, super important, and set up enough where people could come and visit, possibly even do a retreat with the Insight Sangha to come here, with Lama Choga to come here and do a retreat by the end of 2026. And so that would be the goal. It's a pretty ambitious goal. I mean, there's not a lot to do because it is going to be a very primitive hermitage. But the driveways and the walkways and the campsites, and also the meditation platforms, I've really thought them through, and they're going to be 3 by. Hey, what do we got here? I don't know how to pronounce that name. Skitsixler. Oh my goodness, dude. How about we got to think of a nickname for you? What is it? What a logo? He's smoking a doobie or something? I don't know. What are we gonna call you guys? Give us a nickname for yourself. Hello, Dharma Bum. We love you. Hi. Scott. There we go. Hey, Scott. Welcome to the stream. Well, we gotta have, and hey, since we've got like some people tuning in tonight, let's do a little ad hoc poll. So this is a weird sort of podcast, right? It's a very unusual. It's a Dharma Buddhist armchair podcast, right? I mean, so it doesn't get any really like nichier than that. But my experience is from gaming, right? And I was a fairly successful game streamer, and it was all about the swag, right? It really was. I mean, what really drove the audience to you was having a decent bag of swag to give away for free every night. It's really as simple as that. That's what really drove the audience to the. I mean, it was Twitch, of course, which is different than YouTube. I get that, but and I for the longest time I couldn't think of what you could possibly do with that in a Buddhist context, right? And then the other day, and I have to go back and try to find it. I don't even know if I had the sense to bookmark it when I saw it in my YouTube. I don't know, my YouTube recommendations or whatever, but this guy was giving away Melos on his stream. Now, I just really think that's a great idea. I'm sorry, but I mean, look at my audience. Come on, I got like 4 people. So, I mean, what if I'm thinking about ordering some mailers, guys. I'm not gonna this guy gave away 100. I don't know if he gave it away all in one stream. I think so. I think he like stayed on streaming until he managed to get 100 people to take one. I think is what it amounted to. I'm not sure, but it was something like that. But it really jarred me, and I was like, okay, well, that's a great idea. So, but I would give away just one a night. I can't afford that. I can't, I mean, I was thinking like, to have it like a raffle where, you have to tune in and you can, you have the bot, right? I've done it before in Twitch, right? You have the bot that just takes the raffle, entries. You have to say something, a certain code word in chat, and it registers you into the raffle, but you still got to stay until the end of the stream, right? We won't draw to get the free mail, but there'll be decent ones. I can show you what they look like because I just ordered the same one where I bought it. So I love the store that I shop at, so I would order them on Amazon from the same place. But I can show you that beautiful wooden mailers. I mean, really nice, actually, kind of cool. What do you think of that? We give away mailers, Scott? Would you come tune in and sit here and listen to this boring old man all alone on a mountain in the middle of flip nowhere? You know, free mailer. Come on, I'm gonna think about it. I'm really serious because we've got to do something, and you can't even sell advertising on this kind of in this kind of Buddhist context either. So you're really limited, and I mean you've got to do something to get the hype going, as we used to say on Twitch, where it's all about the hype, you know. And but I want to listen without a mailer. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. But I'm still going to keep kicking the idea around. I know I'm interested in what the rest of you think. Somebody say something in the comments if you watch later on the video. So that's about the camp update, guys. We're done. We just need food and fuel for the winter, thus the winter appeal, which is below. I keep pointing it out because we've got like one chance left to get stuff in for Thanksgiving. So if we're going to do it, it's going to happen in the next couple of days. And so the link is there if you care to help out. And then it's a decent idea. People do love free stuff. Right. See what I'm saying, Scott? That's what I'm saying, Scott. Right? You know, how do you do Buddhist swag? And I finally saw the way. Like, I saw the light. Like, because this guy, you know, this fellow content creator, you know, showed me the light. 100 mailers he gave away. That's ambitious. I'm not going to be that ambitious. I'm not that ambitious. I don't have that kind of ambition, right? But no, I would give away one a night, I think, would be fair. And I would try it just to see if we can rustle up a few more, because it's a tough time slot though. I understand that, but I'm stubborn. This is the time slot I want to stream in. I mean, it's not that I can't go live anytime I want. Like if something comes up, I'll go live in a heartbeat. But anyway, so camp update is complete, and now I got a little bit of content, guys. Just some minor stuff here, but. We had a video that cracked 1,000 this week, and it's not completely unprecedented for my channel. I think there's been a couple others, maybe 3 at most others, 2 or 3, I can't even remember, but it's a pretty infrequent event when I have a video on this channel, Dharma Bum Productions, that breaks 1,000 views. This one did this week, actually a couple of days ago. And so I thought I'd give it a spin on the channel. You can also see it later on if you want to follow my channel and subscribe to the channel. But we'll give it a spin now. I think it's kind of groovy. And it's got some dear friends who really lifted us up. Because one of the things I just say before I play the video is that this collage represents really the end of a 3-year odyssey of homelessness, where me and the boys lived out of a very sophisticated wagon that I pulled around with all sorts of gear, and we basically just lived out. We camped out for 3 years out of this wagon, and so that's kind of the backstory to really the whole channel. Even the Hermitage itself is connected, and that ended, of course, when we came up here to homestead the Hermitage. It ended October 5th when we arrived on the property, and so this collage kind of represents the ending chapter, really, of that. You know, that part of the Odyssey where we were in the wagon and living a very, 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 very different life. And of course, that change just recently happened. So it's kind of poignant in that way, in that sense. And then the friends that really lifted us up when we were in that homeless state, there are a couple of them who make a guest appearance in this video. Jen and Deanna, shout out if either one tunes in. And I just think it was very, very, um, it's perfect that they are in the last part of this sort of video. So let's take a look at it. All right, so there it is, 1,000. Oh, where? You guys didn't hear the no sound? You didn't hear the sound of the video? For real? I'll play it again. The music's the best part. Hello? Maybe you... No means you didn't hear the music, seriously? Hold on, let me look into this. Do I have to... I love that. Sorry about the sound. I figured out what. Anyway, yeah, I caught it right at the end. This with a fade out with our friend Deanna, who came right at the very last moment. That's literally just as we're leaving. On the 4th, I think, or the 3rd or the 4th, but right before we arrived here, just as we were leaving where we were homeless, and Deanna came by at the very last second to say goodbye, and it was very, very amazing. And so it was a good video, and like it had a lot of personal weight to it for myself, and I just put it up for that reason, really, and had no idea that of all the videos. I mean, it's so funny. I spent hours toiling over the details of Dharma related content and putting it all these really intricate videos and instructional videos together and all kind of stuff, and it's a puppy video that like gets me 1,000 views. It's rather ironic, but it kind of shows that really you can put all the effort you want into it. You can try to like game the algorithms, you can do everything you can possibly want to try to do to garner an audience and get content, but in the end, it's really what the people want to watch, right? It's really about, and apparently, well over 1,000 people and counting wanted to see, and I don't know, like 120 likes, 115 likes, or something like that so far. And I've had one or two other videos maybe like that went like that, but it's pretty rare, and it was completely unexpected that this was going to be one of them. Thank you, by the way, to all the viewers who watched this video, and thank you to the subscribers. If you're one of the people who subscribed to this channel this week because of this video, thank you. Which we got plenty of puppy content. We got 2 puppies over here, like literally like right there, that way behind me. They're underneath the Karmapa flag. If you want to know geographically where they are in the world, they're probably directly, more or less, underneath the Karmapa flag. But yeah, so video of the boys this week gets 1,000 views. God bless America. Hey, so we've done a lot of videos, guys, about prayer wheel. We talk a lot about prayer wheels, and you know, very much interested on this channel about prayer wheels. We've we've even dissected one. Lama Choga took one apart, and we've actually used that clip on this channel to show what's inside the. I should have gotten my prayer wheel out. I could go grab it. It's right here, actually. Hold on, I'll go get it, because it's like literally I'm in my house, right? So I mean, nothing's very far away. All right. There we go. Right. That's the prayer wheel. I'm getting text messages from secret places. I know about the sound now. I think that's old text. I know about the sound. Can't see me? Why can't you see me? I can see me. You can see me there. I can see me there. Why can't you see me? What do you mean you can't see me? I'm in the little box down in the bottom corner of the shot, Amy. Alright, okay. Anyway, prayer wheels. So there's mine. It's gorgeous. Okay, hey Scott. Thank you. Right on. You guys getting me paranoid. But anyway, so prayer wheels. So there's mine. You can probably barely see it. Maybe if I hold it up to the camera closer. But there's mine. It's really cool. I love it. I use it a lot. And we've dissected them and stuff and everything on here. One of the things so what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to take a stroll through. We're going to talk about playlists, and so when you go to a YouTube channel and you subscribe to it, you go to the channel page. There's a lot of stuff there, and we've tried to do a lot with the stuff that YouTube gives you. So we have the podcast center, which is where this show comes out directly through the official podcast tab when you go on the channel, and then there's playlists, and we make some of them public, and there's a couple that are interesting. Spiritual, the one that's labeled spiritual, which we're going to talk about tonight, and the one labeled chant, which we'll talk about another night, where I collect up a lot of good Buddhist chanting, actual real monks and nuns and whatnot chanting. So but tonight we're going to talk about the spiritual one. And so this is my spiritual playlist, and this is actually fairly near the top if you look at it in the most recent view. Let's see if we can make him bigger. I think I know this guy. If I'm not mistaken, and that's so funny because that's kind of like a pun too, in a way. How do we make him big? Go big. Go all the way. Take over the page. There we go. He's big. Alright, so if I'm not mistaken, and that's a funny to use that term, because if I'm not mistaken, this is the monk from Unmistaken Child, which is a documentary that if you've ever watched it, you would know it, because it's life changing to watch the documentary that he made. If I'm not mistaken, again, it's hard to tell because he was much younger. He was not a geshe. He was just a monk, and in the documentary. But it was one of the most moving Tibetan Buddhist documentaries, Vajrayana Buddhist documentaries that I've ever seen. I encourage you to track it down. You have to pay pretty much everywhere where it's available to watch it. It used to be available a lot more for free. It's really hard to find for free now. But it's called Unmistaken Child. And it's about the hunt for this guy's teacher who died, and then he had to go out and find the reincarnation. He was tasked by the High Lamas to go out and find the reincarnation of his own teacher. And imagine that. Imagine being told that as this young monk. I mean, he was like, I don't know, early in his 20s for sure. Just a kid, really. But I think this guy is that same monk. I just don't know. I can't remember exactly the dude's name. But if you can find the movie and watch it, it's still worth watching. And this may be him. But it's a wonderful explanation. I wish I got to find out more about the story he's about to tell. But I think it's the story of how prayer wheels actually, like at least the legend, from a theological standpoint, the legend of how prayer wheels started. And I didn't know this. I had no idea until like this week when I found this video that this was the story. I don't know if this is true or just, I don't even know. It's almost like a fairy tale. But you guys got to watch this anyway, and I'm going to try to get the audio right this time. So
there's one old lady who went to approach an astrologer. And the astrologer says that you have only 1 week to live. And you have a heavy karma that you're going to be born into the Vajra hell. So she was freaked out. But then the astrologer didn't give any antidote. He just said, I don't know how to help you. Again, this is happened during Buddha's time. She went to approach Shakyamuni Buddha, and Shakyamuni Buddha says, there is an antidote. You need to recite great amount of compassionate Buddha's mantra. But you have no time, just 1 week. So Buddha engaged entire his monk, also asked the villagers, the followers, to come together and write a mantra. So must be Om Mani Padme Hum on a paper. Then after that, make a pole, then that file up, wrap around the pole, and make possible to turn around. And Buddha says that the number of the mantra contained in this wheel, if you turn one round, is equal of reciting, accumulating merit in relation to that, the equal number of the mantra contained in this prayer wheel. So the amount that she needed to recite could be millions, because Mani Tongchur, maybe 100 million, maybe 100 million is 1 trillion. Whenever we talk about prayer wheel, it is targeted to 1 Tongchur, Mani Tongchur. So maybe even this came from there. Maybe she need to recite 1 Tongchur or Mani Padme Hum to clear the karma and also extend the life to accomplish her path. So huge amount of mantra was written there. Maybe by training for 1 week, maybe she can accumulate 1 Tongchur. Possible, but there's no clarity that there, the number. So she turned, and within 1 week, she in fact extended her life uh, extended her life to accomplish for her to achieve arahatship. So she need that lifespan to accomplish the path to achieve arahatship. So she got that amount of remaining time, and plus she able to purify entire karma to be reborn in the Vajra hell. And this is the power of prayer wheel. And in fact, the history of prayer wheel came from then. So now can you imagine, the importance of building prayer wheels, importance of reciting mantras.
Okay, so I don't even know where that story comes from. I got to do some research in this. Maybe I'll do a Dharma Bum show on this, because that's kind of would be a good theme to a good thing to break down in more detail on the Dharma Bum show, because I actually did no research into this. I just bookmarked this video because I was so fascinated by the story he was telling. I had never heard that about prayer wheels, and even in the videos that Lama Choga has done to help us understand prayer wheels, that was never mentioned. I never heard that story. Maybe it's commonplace. I don't know. But, there's a lot I don't know about Vajrayana Buddhism. So, but that is incredible. What an incredible story. An incredible explanation of, especially when you see it taken apart, because that's exactly what's inside. There's this little wheel inside here, and even this one, which is my own little personal one, right? But inside this cylinder here, let's see if I can hold it up to the camera, but inside that cylinder, that gold cylinder, there's a little scroll. There's a pinion, there's a pin, excuse me, a pinion that goes from the top to the wooden handle, and then there's a round spool, I guess you would call it a spool, a scroll of Om Mani Padme Hum prayers. I don't know how many's actually in this wheel, but in particular, but however many is on that scroll, it's probably, I would say, at least 1,008 or more. I'm not really sure, but I would say at least 1,008. But let's just say it's 1,008. Okay, so then every time the wheel turns around, I'm gaining the merit. As long as I do it with the proper intention, I'm gaining the merit of 1,008 Om Mani Padme Hums. And so we know that. I mean, we've explained that already in the other videos. I just didn't know how any of this idea came to be. I thought it was just some sort of weird innovation of, and in fact, I think I said that in one of my past videos, that I thought it was just a weird innovation of monks at, maybe at one of the early learning centers of Vajrayana Buddhism in northern India, they may have come up with something like this. And that was my best guess. And to hear that story, though, is quite, but I don't know the provenance of the story. I don't know whether he's speaking from sutra, from scripture, from some sort of Tibetan legend. I really don't know. I got to look into the story he's telling here and what the provenance of that story is. But it's just an interesting explanation for sure. After having dissected this on my channel a couple of times already, to hear that story, so I thought that was fascinating. So again, I'll just go through a couple more, but this is if you go to my channel, this is my spiritual playlist. Now, almost anything, guys, is likely to end up in here. So don't take it only with so many grains of salt, okay? A lot of this isn't meant to be like hardcore teaching. And in fact, if you scroll deep enough through this, I guess I got 272 videos. At some point I got to go through and do a culling of it, but you can find also in this same list, you can find something like what we're going to look at next, which is the sand mandala, creation of a sand mandala, and we're going to look at some shots from that. Or you can find a video on quantum physics, because I happen to think that one of the most Buddhist things in the world is quantum physics, actually, and there's a lot of especially if I was around a Buddhist who would agree with me. But I mean, so I like this is where you'll find videos like that too. If I see a video on science and it has a direct bearing on Buddhism, as much science does, then it goes in this list. So you could find most anything in here. This is one I wanted to look at too. This is another recent one that I found um, not too long ago, and thought it was pretty fascinating. I'm not sure if we even really need the sound, but we'll do it anyway. Yeah, see, just for the record, it's not that it's not that he's it's not that there's not no sound. They just don't make much sound at all. But they're using the little sticks. It's like a little straw, and then they tap it on the top with a stick, another stick, and they tap out. Literally, they can tap out just 1 grain of sand at a time if they have to, for the design aspects of it. And this is actually 3 hours long. They created this entire mandala. I think it was live even too on YouTube, and it's a pretty interesting one. It's got all the religions, like a number of the major religions of the world are represented in this particular mandala. So, yeah, pretty cool. And of course, for those not familiar with the San Mandela, you go, wow, they're gonna put all this effort into, making this hugely elaborate thing. It's gonna take them 3 hours to do this sand painting, and then when they're done, they're gonna use a paintbrush and brush it all into a can and be done with it. And it's the idea of impermanence, right? It's the idea of no matter how beautiful or how incredible our creations are, um, on the grand scale of time, there's nothing that's really, you know, much more permanent than the sand mandala that's going to last like 3 hours, right? They're going to make it, and then they're going to look at it, pray on it, and destroy it. So, um, but yeah. Anyway, that's that one's kind of like watching paint dry, but I found it really fascinating. I'm boost ahead. Oh, I'm down near the finish line. Yeah, but you can see on here where they had, like they got all the symbols, the religious symbols, and I just think that's fascinating. So let's see what else I got in here. I put a lot in this week, so. Here's another sun mandala. This is the green Tara San Mandala. And so yeah, that's my. I see. I was getting some YouTube notifications, people checking it out. But yeah, that's the spiritual playlist, and basically it's kind of a Dropbox for me for anything that I found to be somewhat truthful and enlightening. I try not to put anything in there that's foolish or um too ridiculous, but like I said, from time to time I do have to check myself and go through and call the herd. And at 270 videos, I probably do need to go give it a shakedown. Probably some videos will have to go, but basically, if I think there's some benefit of watching it to the Dharma, it goes in this particular playlist. I really am fascinated by this, and the thing is, it's got to be such a meditation for them. I mean, you watch them doing it, and just the very creation of it itself would seem to me to be a meditation. I don't know how else you could do it, really, without calming your mind and sort of, I mean, because it's such a precise thing. When you look at it at scale, when you see them very up close, like I guess it's hard, but if you can find some close-up images on Google Images or something, you can see where some of these designs are literally grains of sand stacked on each other to make them. They have like texture, right? Like, and they can literally pile one grain of sand on top of each other with these tools and the patience that they have and the training that they have to do this. And that's just wow. I mean, and then, like I said, the whole idea of impermanence, right? I mean, when they're done, they're gonna, say a quick prayer and give it a look and brush it all away, and it's over. And that's an incredible lesson on so many levels, right? And then, of course, the pictures have meanings. Like, these are, like the last mandala was kind of newish. I think that's kind of something new, like with the many religious symbols and everything. I don't think that's like an ancient mandala. This right here is Green Tara's mandala. So Green Tara is the bodhisattva that this hermitage is dedicated to, Green Tara. So we're on her land now, right? But so I found it. I think that's why this ended up in the bucket list, is because we have a special attachment here, me and the boys, to Green Tara. So it was neat to see the mandala dedicated to her. And I don't know. Let's take a look at maybe another one. Jesus in the Himalayas. How can we resist, guys? It's getting near Christmas. Let's take a look. Jesus in the Himalayas.
Everyone thinks they know Jesus' story, but here's the thing. We really don't. I mean, think about it. We've got this figure who shaped Western civilization for 2,000 years, right? Billions of people base their entire worldview on his teachings. Wars have been fought in his name. Empires have risen and fallen, claiming to follow him. And yet, when you actually look at what we know about his life, there are massive gaping holes. Sure, the Gospels tell us about Bethlehem, the whole manger
Massive
scene,
gaping
shepherds,
holes.
wise men following stars, classic stuff. Then we get glimpses of his childhood in Nazareth. Pretty normal Jewish kid, learning carpentry from his dad Joseph, helping out around the house. Then there's that one story when he's 12. This one's interesting. His family goes to Jerusalem for Passover, and somehow Jesus gets separated from the group. His parents are freaking out, searching everywhere. Where do they finally find him? In the temple, sitting with these ancient scholars, these guys who've spent their entire lives studying scripture. And Jesus, this 12-year-old kid, is just casually debating them. Not only keeping up with their theological discussions, but actually amazing them with his wisdom.
Okay, you
The
gotta get
religious
to the
teachers
point, though,
are
about him
sitting
being in
there.
the Himalayas, alright? Let's skip ahead here. I don't want the Bible lesson. I want Jesus
And then
in
he
the
discovered
Himalayas.
relativity. What about everything in between? What about the experiences that shaped his thinking?
What about
the
Jesus in the
mentors who influenced
Himalayas?
him?
That's what we want. That's what we tuned in for, dude.
Eastern wisdom he'd learned. But the religious authorities of his time couldn't handle his radical message. They saw him as a threat to their power, their interpretation of scripture.
Is this
So
like
they
one of
had him
those AI
arrested,
cheesy
tortured, and
things that they talk-
executed. Notovich is sitting there, listening to the story, and his mind is absolutely blown. the timeline, the details, the description of his teaching, it all matches up perfectly with what he knows about Jesus Christ. He claimed he actually saw the manuscript with his own eyes, spent time studying them with the monks, even published what he said were direct translations from the original texts, and immediately all hell broke loose. When Notovich published his book, The Unknown Life of Jesus Christ, back in Europe, the reaction was intense. Western scholars went absolutely ballistic, called him a fraud, a liar, a sensationalist, just trying to make money off a shocking story. The idea that Jesus might have studied Eastern philosophy, that Christianity might have roots in Hinduism and Buddhism, that was heretical, unthinkable, dangerous. Religious authorities condemned the book. Academic institutions refused to take it seriously. Critics claimed those Hemis manuscripts never existed in the first place, that Notovich made the whole thing up. Some even suggested that when other investigators later visited the monastery, the monks denied knowing anything about the scrolls. Maybe the British colonial authorities pressured them to stay quiet. Maybe they were scared of the controversy. Maybe they thought it was safer to pretend the whole thing never happened. And look, let's be straight here. Notovich's story has never been completely, definitively proven. There are legitimate questions about some of his claim. The scholarly evidence is, let's call it mixed. But here's what's interesting. It's never been completely debunked either. In fact, over the years, other travelers, other researchers have claimed to have seen similar manuscripts in various Himalayan monasteries. Some say they found references to Isa in other ancient texts. Others have collected oral traditions from local people that seem to support parts of Notovich's story. What's really fascinating isn't whether every detail is 100% historically accurate. It's that even now, more than a century later, thousands of people still make pilgrimages to Hemis, hunting for those same scrolls. Spiritual seekers, scholars, curious Christians who've heard of the story and need to investigate for themselves. Some claim they've seen versions of the document. Others say the monks showed them similar texts, but asked them not to publicize the details. Still others come back empty-handed, but somehow changed by the experience of looking. And then there are those who say it doesn't even matter whether the physical manuscripts exist, because Jesus' actual teachings, when you really examine them, already sound Eastern.
Alrighty then. Like I said, sometimes I call this list. That one might hit the cutting room floor soon, guys. So go ahead and take a look. Yeah. Let's see what else is here. We're down to the last few minutes anyway. If anybody's got any questions about the Hermitage or anything, go ahead and give a shout out in the chat. Check out my playlists over at the channel, Dharma Bum Productions. Give a like and subscribe to the channel. Give a like to this stream even. And we're here live every Saturday at 9 p.m. Pacific time. So, like I said, kind of the twilight of streaming time zones, I guess, or times to pick, but whatever. It's an intimate audience where you get to have yourself heard, get all your questions answered. We can't help but notice your existence when you show up. Thank you so much to Scott for coming by. Of course, Weezer and Bones, thank you guys for being around. We'll see you at Thanksgiving. I hope that's the plan. I better still be invited to Thanksgiving dinner. You know, you didn't mention that part in the whole, rundown of the new plans and everything, so. If not, we can eat canned chicken. We got that. But I already ate the turkey stuffing tonight for dinner. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Got my prayer wheel here. We'll put out a few. We'll give, me and the boys will offer you our blessing, and we'll do it with the prayer wheel tonight. May everyone who watches this, may everything be auspicious. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. There we go. I still have to research that video. I'm going to do a whole special show. I'll do it under the Dharma Bum show, where we talk mostly just about like hardcore Dharma stuff like that. But I'll do a video on that prayer wheel, and I believe even now after watching that video, that's the young man in Unmistaken Child. If you want to look up that documentary, find a way to watch it. You pretty much got to pay to watch it, but it's worth it, to be honest with you. One of the most moving sort of Buddhist documentaries I think that you'll ever see. Quite a story. I'm actually going to do an entire episode too on that show and reincarnation, and how it ties in with the recent announcement by the Dalai Lama that he will be reincarnating, and he'll be reincarnating, in freedom, not in China, but in exile. And so that's, that's kind of huge. It means that a lot of people that are alive are going to be alive to see probably one of the most major reincarnation events that, in modern times, that you can actually watch. I guess it's the equivalent of the election of a pope, but it's quite a bit different, right? Because of the way that it's done, right? You're going to literally go and find the Dalai Lama again, and they're going to do it, and they're going to probably document it very, very well, because it's modern times, and there's cameras and stuff, and there's ways to bring this to the world. And so this will be brought to the world, and plus there's a political impetus to bring it to the world, because the only legitimate one will be the Dalai Lama, who's found in exile by the exiles. And so there will be this whole sort of you're invited. Yeah, well, I didn't get my invitation. How am I supposed to RSVP for Thanksgiving dinner if I don't get my invitation? Happy Thanksgiving, by the way, to everybody who's tuned in to this, and who sees this on the replay on the channel. Happy Thanksgiving from the bottom of our hearts. We're so grateful for all of you, especially everybody who helped to support the Dharma Wheel Hermitage. The founding of it, the creation of it, the purchase of it, and now the homesteading of it, as we go forward to trying to build a place where people can truly, freely come to practice the Dharma with as fewer rules and strictures as possible, and no consideration of money at all. So that's the dream and the vision, on at least on one level of the Dharma Wheel Hermitage. And very, very grateful this year. All of my gratitude and all of my Thanksgiving goes into that. Me and the boys are so honored and so proud to be able to be up here and try with everything we have to try to do this for the benefit of all sentient beings. It's an amazing feeling, because every day would normally be pretty decent anyway when you get up and work for your life like this, like we do here at the Hermitage. And it is a lot of hard work, but the reward it would normally be great, even as all things, just being personal, right? But I guess, guys, we're going to have to wrap up the broadcast anyway. But thank you, and have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody. My battery's about to die on my laptop. So, we love you all, and we will see you next Saturday at 9 p.m. Pacific time for yet another episode of Live from the Hermitage.